What's interesting to me about this topic is the fact that we're even talking about it, and it is still prevalent at our age. It's almost like you're always going back to high school.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning into our second act with Paige and Silka. Today we are continuing our series on shame and sex, especially as we get older and the particular issues that we at our age deal with when it comes to wanting to enjoy sex. And joining us again today is sexual health advocate Bonnie Gayle and the creator of Sex Butter. Bonnie, thanks for joining us again.
Oh, thanks for having me, Silka. I always love talking to you.
Well, as we said on our previous segments, we're dealing with specific issues as they relate to shame and sex and our ability to enjoy sex. And on today's segment, something that we're very hesitant to talk about, especially as we start over again or find love again after 50, is the topic of how many partners have we been with? How much experience do we have, and how we perceive that, or how our new partner might perceive that? Bonnie, what kind of guidance can you give us on this very tricky topic?
So, the first thing I would like to say is that, whether you've had a lot of experience or not so much experience, when you have chemistry with somebody, okay, the experience doesn't really matter. That's the truth. Like when you're feeling chemistry with somebody and you guys are into it, nobody's thinking about, well, like how many people have you been with? So usually the topic of how many partners that you've been with doesn't come up in the context of being in bed together. It comes up either before or after. And so there is shame around this a lot of times, because if you feel like you've been with too many people and your partner is going to have judgment over that, that's where the shame comes in. Or if you feel like you don't have enough experience, or you should be more experienced for the number of people you've been with, that's where shame comes in. But here's the thing. We're not 16 or 17, right? And we've all had relationships before. And so the odds are that we were going to have been sexually active before as well. So my thing is, first of all, it's none of anybody else's business how many partners I've been with. As long as I am safe, sexually safe, that's what you need to know. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's appropriate to ask the question. And if somebody does ask the question, I let them know that, you know what, the number of people I've been with is not going to have any relevance to them. And there really is no reason. I don't sit there and count all the people that I've been with. I don't keep records of this stuff. And I'm not going to. So if you're looking for somebody who knows exactly the number of people they've been with, and that's what you want to talk about, there would be somebody better out there for you.
Well, I think it's more of an ego question, isn't it, than anything?
Well, with guys, when guys talk about it together, it's an ego thing, because it's like, who's been with more people? But when women are talking about it, it's not really an ego thing, because, there's that number that if you've been with more than this number, it could get into like, are you considered a slut? So, it's like shaming somebody once again, it like gets a little ridiculous. So the point is, it's like, first of all, what's the purpose of why you're really asking me? That's the thing I need to think about, is like, why are you asking me this question? If you're asking me if you need to be concerned about your sexual safety, the answer is no, because I always take care of myself. I make sure I use condoms. I use, lube that keeps me safe, so trying to find out why they may be asking is a good thing. Mm-hmm. Because if they're asking for like an innocent reason, like something like that, you can answer that question without having to get into the number of partners you've been with.
What's interesting to me about this topic is the fact that we're even talking about it, and it is still prevalent at our age. It's almost like you're always going back to high school. And I recall a conversation I had with one of my friends, who she started over again after 50. And she just kind of casually mentioned to me, she goes, oh, well, do you think I should, I want to be really honest and just let them know, my past and what's been going on, et cetera, et cetera. I'm just thinking, why?
Exactly. Why?
Yeah. How does that help anything? And
here's the thing, people are not as open-minded as we think they are. So there's a lot of judgment out there. That's the truth. And there's a lot of judgment around sex in a big way. Whether you're a foreigner or not, there's judgment in the United States, there's judgment in every country. So for me, taking the things off the table that are so judgmental, that really aren't relevant to us being together and having a good sex life is, I think, one way of kind of like, getting through some of these topics is like, why do we need to talk about this? Like, is this something we really need to talk about? And if so, what's the purpose of it?
Exactly, because it only raises unnecessary questions, unnecessary concern, and no, I agree. And it's just funny that it's still so prevalent.
Well, and here's the thing. In the past, when I've had conversations and I've been honest with people, and it's not really about giving them an exact number, but it's kind of giving them a feel for, where I've been or whatever. As soon as there's like a disagreement about anything at all, that comes plunging in to be used against you. And I'm like, oh my God. So that was a really valid lesson for me to learn, like not to give out that information, because then it got used against me at a time when I wasn't expecting it. That was ridiculous. I mean, come on.
Yeah. The fact is, we all have a past, some more extensive than others, but the past is the past. And unless it's creeping into the future, don't put it there willingly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or the present, for that matter.
Well, yes, exactly. Bonnie, anything else on this top? Any other advice you want to leave us with?
No, just that I feel like no matter how many people you've been with, whether you've been with one or 100 or 1,000, the bottom line is that's your path. That was your path. And it's like whatever path it took to get you to the place you are today, that's your path. And there's nothing to be, there's nothing to be shameful about.
Yep, it's what took you to where you are today to make the decisions going forward. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Bonnie, we will link to all of your information. We will link to Bonnie's product, Sex Butter, which we highly recommend on this show. And if you want to get in touch with Bonnie directly and have any of these questions, perhaps answered more personally, I'll have her information in the video description. And we'll see you next time on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you found this information helpful. For more information about taking charge of your sexual health after 50, please visit our website, secondact.tv. And if you haven't already done so, take just one quick second and subscribe to our channel. Button's right over here.